Hello and welcome to MP Foods number 4. As you will have seen from the introduction, today we are cooking a homemade fish and chips with a minted mushy peas. Now what we've done is, to simplify this, we've actually split the recipe cards into 3 parts. So what you've got is one part for the chips, one part for the fish and the batter, and then one part for the minted mushy peas. Right, so the first part of the recipe card is the chips. Make sure you get the right potato for the job. You want to try and get a Maris Piper, a Desiree or a King Edward because they're all quite floury. So when you actually chip your potato, you're going to end up with a fluffy middle and a crunchy outside. At certain points of the year, however, your chips will probably go brown and soggy because of the way the potatoes are stored. And so, like now, we're in May, we're probably 6 weeks away from getting good new season potatoes, so you might want to get a frozen chip. That's down to you. The second part of the card is the fish. I've used fresh cod. You could use a frozen piece of cod. I've also made a batter from scratch, but you could just use a packet mix. With the mushy peas, I used a tin and then pimped them up. You can use frozen peas and then pimp them up in the same way, but you just need to use a potato masher to actually turn them mushy and help them along the way. Right, before we get too far in, you, come here, talking to you, make sure you hit that subscribe button for me please, and then once you've done that, go and click on the bell icon, and whenever I upload a new video you'll get a notification straight to your phone. I don't do it on the same day every week, so if you don't do it you'll miss out. It's free, it costs you nothing, and then you'll get to see some good food made. Click the subscribe button. Okay, so basically the plan is start off with your spuds, wash them, peel them, and then cut them into the chip shape. I'll try and aim for sort of 2 centimeters thick. It's roughly the sort of size of like your big fingers. When you're doing this, make sure you're constantly putting your potatoes in cold water. You don't want them to go brown, and some will oxidize and go black. Before you cook them though, make sure that you pat them dry. That's done right before cooking. You don't want to do it too early. Again, you run the risk of oxidization or browning. And in some cases, if you've got like a potato with a really high dry matter, they'll go black, and you don't want that because it's horrible to eat. So I've just got a pestle and mortar, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the ingredients in this to mix into my mushy peas. That is just dried mint and pepper, and then a tiny pinch of salt. I'll split the mushy peas into 2, one for normal and one for minted. I've used a tin. It's much easier just to use a tin and then pimp them up if that's what you've got. However, you can use frozen peas cooked in a little bit of vegetable or chicken stock and then mash them down to get to this point. So all I've done there is I've put in the pepper and the mint, squeezed in a bit of fresh lemon, and then I'll put some butter into it and stirred it round. Then all you got to do is microwave that for 2 minutes before serving. That's a nice easy side dish, probably the easiest one in history. Next up is the fish. So I was lucky with my piece of fish, and I just literally pulled the skin off instead of having to skin it with a knife. I took a good grip and just yanked the skin completely off. That's better, and then I've patted it dry. I always try and keep my fish quite dry like that, because you don't want the water to come out in cooking. Cut it into equal portions. I was doing 3 dinners, so I've cut this into 3. And what I've done there, just to make sure all the portions are roughly the same size, is I did take the piece and then stick it next to it. So that's alright. For the batter, all I've done is put the flour into a saucepan, pinch of salt, pinch of baking powder, and then some beer, and mixed it in. That was it, and just whisk it up. Very, very, very easy. And if there's a lump or 2 in it, don't worry about it. It did come out looking real thick and like real heavy, but leave it like that, it's fine. Don't water it down. What you need to do in order to get your batter to stick to the fish is just dust them with some flour. You can use seasoned flour, you can put salt and pepper into it, you can even spice it up. Right then guys, let's do the cook. With stuff like cayenne pepper if you want. So the first cook of the chips was done at 130 degrees for about 10 minutes, and all you're trying to do is blanch them. So all you want to do is get them cooked through so that there's no colour on the outside. as you can see there. Second cook is done at 190 degrees, and as you can see, nice and crispy. I did that for about 8 minutes. After that, get the fish cooked. So again, I did the fish at 170, and there you can see it going into the fryer. I did make sure it didn't get stuck on the bottom of the basket though. I didn't put it into the basket to start with, but I made sure that it wasn't stuck on the bottom, otherwise it will just literally stick. And all you got to do is keep it turning. What I did was I put it on a rack just to let the oil drain out of it like they do in the chip shop, and that was that. Time to serve. Delicious. As you've seen, that was the homemade fish and chips with the minted mushy peas. It was nice to do a savoury dish this week. The next video I'm doing is back to sweets. It's an oven baked lemon and vanilla donut. I wanted to replicate these ones I had in Spain as a kid, and yeah, that's the game plan. And then after that it'll be back to something savoury again, and I'm going to try and alternate them. Hope you've enjoyed this, hope you give it a go, and thanks for watching.